Gun Talk continues now in a more informal setting. Get ready for an on-topic, off-topic free-for-all featuring Tom, call screener Michelle, and Gun Talk producer Jim. Now, lazily bon ton roulette. In Louisiana, that means let the after show good times roll.
It's the after show where all good ideas come to die, or something like that. I don't know. Hey, Jim's with us. Michelle's with us. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Michelle, I know you were biting your tongue when we had Johnny Dury on talking about selling guns because you're thinking, we sell used guns, too. We have gunsmiths, too, right?
That's right. We do.
Yes, you do. And tell them the name of your store.
It's Cleland's Outdoor World. We're located in Toledo, Ohio. And, yeah, we do used sales, estates, anything that we can to service. We buy, we consign. We try to work with the customer the best way that we can and get them the most for what they need. So
both me and my gun safe can attest to the store as well. They're top-notch folks.
Well, it's also very similar in that it's a multi-generational family business.
Yes, sir, it is. There's 3 generations currently there.
How about that?
I know.
So, it's you know who you're going to be dealing with there.
This is true.
For better or for worse, I don't know.
It just depends on who's on shift, yeah.
Right.
That's right, and how we're feeling that day. Exactly. Oh, my goodness. So, the Ruger Precision Rifle. I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at that thing. It is one strange-looking, pretty cool-looking rifle.
No, some of us have to work for a living, Tom, and can't just be talking about guns all day.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say something?
Were you looking at guns?
Yes, of course.
Have not had the chance to peruse it, but based on what Mark was saying, it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And what did I say, about $1,200? I think was the maybe street price. That is not bad at all for a high-end long-range rifle.
Yeah, no kidding.
Their only problem is going to be making enough of them. They like to have, like 5 or 10,000 of them ready when they release them. I think they had, number I heard was 1,500. Right. And they were like, poof, gone. Just, snatched up like that.
You took half of them.
Well, no, I only took one, but they sent us a 308, and I'm thinking, but I really wanted a 6.5 Creedmoor, so,
It'd be interesting to see how the availability is. He had talked about being able to interchange the barrels. It'd be interesting to see what kind of availability they have to interchange those systems, because I can see that being a benefit for different purposes across the country.
Heck yeah.
Well, sure. And in addition to the 6.5 Creedmoor, if you have the bolt face for the 308, you could shoot, of course, a 243, but you could also shoot a 260 Remington, a 7mm08 in there.
Ooh. Yeah, when you asked Mark which caliber he'd like to have, he said 6.5. We were dancing around in control room because we'd all guessed. I was like, good.
6.5. It's, I bet half of them will be 6.5s.
Yeah, really?
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of availability, why don't we grab some of these callers and strike while they're still available. Iron's hot. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to one. Steve's with us out of North Dakota. Hey, Steve. Thanks for waiting.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, too. Great show.
Good. Thank you.
Say, I had a question, and I think I heard you say something about this in a show gone by. That you said that the springs and magazines are good for life. But I'm wondering, I had my son tell me that you had to replace those springs if you keep the magazines loaded. Is that the case, or what can you tell me about that?
You will find knowledgeable people, who will give you both pieces of advice. One is don't worry about it. They don't take a set. Others say, well, why not just replace them? There is the argument to be made that, look, they're just cheap as they can be. And if you want to replace them every, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, go ahead. I will tell you, and Michelle can help me out here because she probably will contradict me, but I have never replaced a magazine spring, ever, in my life.
I can't say that I've ever done that in any of my personal guns either. I don't. Jim?
Have you ever had a repair come in and that was the solution?
There's been things in the past. I can't come up with anything currently that's really been a situation or an ongoing problem. Of course, now, the focus isn't on just keeping your magazines loaded. It's on training. And so I think it's probably used more often than they are stored.
And if you had a weak spring, it could possibly cause malfunctions. If the ammo doesn't get pushed up, the next round doesn't get pushed up in time for the slide to catch it as it's going forward, et cetera, et cetera. As I said, I have never replaced a magazine spring. Now, recoil springs, that's a different issue. If you're shooting semi-automatic handguns, yes, you do need to replace your recoil springs in the, 3,000 to 5,000 round range, Michelle?
Yeah, estimated, yeah.
They're cheap, too.
I was just going to say, they're pretty cheap, and you can keep them in your range bag, and, if you can't do it yourself, you can find a recommended gunsmith that can change that out. They're pretty simple to do.
Yeah. And in a defense gun, I would change it relatively often. But in a practice shooting fun gun, I'd shoot it till it doesn't function because I'm lazy.
And cheap.
and cheap, yeah.
And cheap.
No, I mean,
really, those things cost like $6, Jim.
Yeah.
I mean, really? Are you kidding me?
I'm thinking if your life doesn't depend on you out at the range and it malfunctions, you grab a different gun and you make it safe, then grab another gun. And if it turns out it's a spring, great. I've got over 10,000 on my Glock. I've never changed it.
Yeah, or you just grab a different magazine, which is, again, one more reason, number your mags with a Sharpie or something so that you end up with like 4 of them, and you go, which one was it that was broken? It didn't work right. I was getting some problems with it. Okay, it's number 2. We'll take that one and put it away. So number your mags so that you can tell which one could be a problem.
Right, yeah, I was referring to the recoil spring I would change out. The mag springs I've never had one go bad.
Yeah, but here's what happens. It's not a case of it going bad. At a certain point, it gets weaker, and it could damage your gun because now you don't have as much resistance to the slide, and now it's going back and smacking against the stop at the end, and you don't have the spring slowing it down as it hits the end of its travel.
Like I said, I replace my recoil springs all the time.
Yes, that's what I thought I heard you said. Yes, exactly. I thought that's what you said.
See what I learned?
Yeah, there you go. Really, like you say, when you get your semi-automatic gun, make sure you have at least 4 mags and buy an extra recoil spring at the same time and stick them all in the bag and don't worry about it. You've got it.
Got your part, yeah.
There you go. Let's grab Buzz on 3. He's out of Bandon, Oregon. Hey, Buzz, you're on Gun Talk.
Thank you, Tom. Before this crazy Oregon legislature passed this anti-illegal gun law they just passed, I looked around, talked to some friends, and went ahead and purchased 3 separate handguns from individuals that I know. One of them happens to be a very old 1913 Colt Police Positive Special 38. And a local gun store owner, I took it into him, and he said that he didn't recommend that I shoot modern ammunition in this pistol. He said there's nothing wrong with the pistol, but it's just old. And I said, well, I don't understand why that would be a problem, but I wanted to get your opinion on that.
Well, it's not chambered for the 38 Special. That's the main thing.
Okay.
So it is chambered for the 38 Colt or 38 Smith & Wesson, which is a different cartridge than the 38 Special. And so if you could get a 38 Special in it, it would be developing considerably higher pressure, and you may not be able to get it in there at all. But what you want is if you want to shoot it with 38 S&W ammo, and you can get that, I think, Michelle, I think Black Hills has that. Who else? Do you think of anybody that has 38 S&W?
I think I heard him mention that to me, but I was gonna talk to you if I could, and then find out what I need to do, because I did put 38 Special in it, and it seemed to, I didn't fire it, okay, but I was able to get the 38 Special bullet in there, and it didn't seem to be any sort of a problem with the mechanics of it, but I didn't actually fire it because I didn't want to take a chance. And anyway, so if I can find just a standard load 38 S&W, I should be okay.
Right. Should be okay, assuming a gunsmith has looked it over and the gun is safe.
Right. Everything's, he said mechanically it's very sound. It's just old, and I don't know how much it's actually been used, but...
And of course, the only reason you would shoot it was to say, okay, that's kind of fun, I'm going to go out and shoot a few times, but this is not going to be your self-protection gun or anything like that.
Absolutely not. My grown daughter, her husband's a police officer, and he's gone at night a lot. She got a carry permit, but she hasn't bought a pistol yet. She hasn't been trained yet. And so I want her to train with this pistol just to learn how to use the pistol, if it's safe, because it won't have, won't be that tough for her to shoot. And then we'll work on getting her something that fits her, probably 9mm, small 9mm or something.
All right, well, that'll work. But
personal protection.
Don't shoot some 38 special ammo in that gun. It might be okay, but it might not be, and there's no point in stressing an old revolver like that with modern ammo. Buzz, I appreciate the call. Jim, why don't we do this? Let's take a quick break, come back and grab Robert, okay?
Gotcha.
All right, we'll do that. We'll be right back with more of the After Show.
EWL by Slip 2000 is the absolute best gun lube available, period. It will never gum up or become sticky. It won't attract dust, dirt, or sand, and doesn't freeze in cold weather. It penetrates and bonds with a metal-reducing friction and wear, which means less cleaning and easier cleaning. Why not try it? Visit our participating dealer for a free sample or go to slip2000.com. That's slip2000.com.
All right, we're back with you here. Let's go first off, grab Robert on line 2 out of San Antonio. Hey, Robert, how you doing?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about a 22 conversion for a Colt government model. I bought this back in the 70s, back when I was in college. And unfortunately, the pistol that I bought at the same time was stolen, but it was a Series 70 Colt 45. I've been told by someone who was supposed to be a Colt expert at a gun show that it is not compatible with Series 80 or other newer Colts. And I've noticed where there's some Series 70 government models being sold these days. Do you have any information as to whether or not that conversion can be used on those government models?
Who made the conversion?
It's by Colt. It was one of the original Colt conversions. It has that special bushing in it that's supposed to simulate a little bit more felt recoil.
Right.
This was sold by them. They originally, I think, developed it for the Army back during the Depression, but this was being sold in the 70s.
Have to admit, I don't know the answer, but it makes sense that if it would work in the 70, you might want to just stay with a Series 70 1911. And as you know, there are a number of companies making 1911s that are on the Series 70 system, not the more modern Series 80. Unfortunately, we have no one at Colt right now we can talk to. I'm not sure what the status is of Colt. They did file for bankruptcy. I think somebody's still there, but there may not be as many people as there used to be. So I don't know who you'd go to there. Well, look, I appreciate the call, Robert. I wish you luck with that. But yeah, I would probably stick with a Series 70 on that one. Appreciate that. All right, guys, we kind of bounced around all over the place with the show. We were talking about a little bit of Hank Williams. We had Johnny on. We got to talk about the new Ruger rifle. So, and then we, of course, had some fairly interesting callers, too. I'm just wondering, as we get these range reports in and these stories about people having good experiences with customer service from companies, you start to pick up on a trend of most companies are pretty much taking care of their customers, aren't they?
Absolutely. Everything that we've seen, where it's unfortunate when you have to send something back to the manufacturer, and it's especially so if it's a, concealed item that you were wanting to have on you. But, they are completing a fast turnaround from what I've seen for the most part. I mean, there's times when some of these companies might be shut down for vacations or inventories and something unforeseen. But I'd say for the most part, things are coming back fairly quickly for our customers.
You mentioned something interesting, Michelle, the idea that if you have a protection gun, a carry gun, and if it goes down, you have to get it fixed. It's kind of, we go back to that whole thing we talk about all the time where we say, one is none, two is one. So if it's something important, you better have two of them because one of them probably isn't going to work. So what do you do if you have to send a gun back? You might want to have a second gun.
Right. Or, if you have a local gunsmith that is reputable, I hate to hit on that, but it's extremely important to know that they're reputable with what they do. But,
right.
Lots of times if you let them know what the situation is and it's something they can fix, they'll do it more appropriately as far as timing goes than obviously having to send it back. Because you're probably, 3-4 weeks, my guess would be most of the time.
You're going to have a week in shipping total, so yeah.
And now the trade-off is, of course, you got to pay the local gunsmith, and the company might fix it for free for you. But then now it's basically a time versus money thing.
Exactly.
Once again,
exactly what I was going to say.
For a manufacturer, though, to cover it, I mean, it's just great PR. Because who's the best gun salesman besides Tom Gresham? The best gun salesman is your buddy at the range who says, "Look at this new
He's the
Smith
guy
I
you
got."
know.
Yeah.
So look at this cool gun.
Why
And you know what? I had a problem with it. I had to send it back. But look, you can't believe it. Those guys sent it back with a new barrel, like the guy had on the show today. He says, they sent it back with a new barrel, no charge. Yep. Wow. Yep. So yeah, it's. I think one of the things that's happening is that we used to not hear about a lot of problems with guns. But it occurs to me there's two things at work here as we hear a little bit more about it. One is that we're selling 2 or 3 times as many guns now as we did 20 years ago. And the other is that now we have a lot of ways to hear about it, right?
Right. Social media is everything with these companies. Absolutely. Radio, computer, the GUNTALK forums. I mean, just there's so much out there.
Well, also with the advent of CNC machines being used for firearms manufacturing, the tolerances have gone way smaller. Everybody's making a decent gun, pretty much. Broad statement to make, but most manufacturers are cranking out good stuff.
You're right. I think everybody's making real good guns. Some are making very good guns. But, and people will make fun of it. We all have our jokes about High Point. But, I mean, you go down to lower cost guns, they're still making good guns that you could carry. You could, protect your life with them. Now, it may or may not be something you want to shoot a lot, but...
Or show anyone.
Even at that... or admit that you own it? No, that's not fair.
Barbecue
that's
gun.
not
No,
nice.
Not exactly that.
It's not nice. It's not a barbecue gun. But you know what? If somebody said, here, this is the gun you got to carry to protect your life, it says, great. I'd like an extra magazine for it. Thank you very much. Let's go. But even, across the board, from the inexpensive to the most expensive, most guns work pretty darn well.
And they've gotten way better since the 60s. I think
yes.
The defect rates are lower. And now, because of that, they're able to make really good guns, and it's so competitively priced, the margins aren't what they used to be. So now this all coming back full circle to the PR aspect of customer service. You really need to take care of customers now, because if your Smith has an issue, well, darn that thing, I'm going to try Springfield, I'm going to go to Glock, or whatever. Yep. So, I mean, it's kind of necessity, but it's worked to our advantage.
You mentioned that guns are better than they used to be. I was just thinking, the basic hunting rifle of today will outperform what would have been a high-end target rifle from the 60s.
Yep, something right off the shelf.
Right off the shelf. I mean, it was real common for any given bolt action, not a lever action, bolt action hunting rifle in the 60s to shoot a 2.5 to 3 inch groups. And that was just accepted. That's what it is, because you're not going to shoot past 200, 250 yards at a deer anyway. Well, now, if your rifle doesn't shoot around an inch or better, you're probably going to send it back to the factory.
Yeah, that's amazing. How good is it? Well, part of that's ammo, too. Ammo's gotten a lot better, too.
I think a lot of it's ammo. Well, it is, because, as the ammo got better, it started to show off some of the shortcomings of the guns. As the guns got better, it showed that, hey, some of this ammo isn't as good as it used to be. And then we start comparing it, and you can share your group sizes and everything else on internet. So you're going, okay, now, Mr. Gunmaker, your guns aren't measuring up really well here. And so you get somebody like a Savage that upsets the apple cart. What was it, like 10, 15 years ago? They bring out these inexpensive rifles that shoot great.
Yeah. Those AccuTriggers. And,
Oh, my gosh. I mean, honestly, you got to give credit to Savage, because they really changed the landscape, didn't they, Michelle?
Absolutely. It was the best gun out of the box, take it off the shelf and go, that you could get. And it's decently priced. They still are reasonably priced guns.
Well, if we didn't have Savage doing that, we wouldn't have the Ruger American. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't have a lot of these other guns that are very accurate with good triggers out of the box. I mean, the joke back 20 years ago was that Ruger, they said, well, at the end of the assembly line, they've got a lawyer. His job is to crank the trigger down to where it won't go off at all. So, that's perfect. But it won't fire. Yes, perfect. That's exactly right.
That's what we want. Yeah.
So, they had horrible triggers. And if Savage had done what they did, we would still have, mediocre triggers on a lot of factory guns. But that's not the case anymore.
No, these companies are constantly forward thinking. And part of that, too, if you pay attention to things on the reloading side of it, too, our powders have expanded so much. Now you've got powders just for 223s. And you've got, all these things that are more specialized than what they ever used to be. So powder selections, it may still be difficult to get some powder, but there's more of them to choose from and things that are very specific to your 223s and the AR platforms.
And that goes for all the reloading, too. You got chronographs now. You couldn't have bought a chronograph in the 60s, could you, Tom? I mean, I wasn't even alive in the 60s.
They were way back in this. I'll tell you how primitive they were. When I first started getting into all this, you would have a chronograph, but you had a piece of paper, in essence, with a lot of wires going across it. And you'd have two of those and mounted a certain distance apart, and you shot through them and you broke the wire on the first one and then the second one and measured the time difference. And then I think it was Ken Ayler at Ayler Chronographs who created the Sky Screen, where we started using the shadow of a bullet going over the screen, and it measured that. But up until then, we had to have a printed piece of paper that you had to shoot through to get the measurement of velocity way back then. So there were some back then, but we're talking chitty chitty bang bang kind of stuff.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right. Hope you hit the wire.
Yeah, exactly.
That bolt's not traveling at all, according to this.
Did I ever tell you guys about the time I blew up the chronograph at the NRA?
No, but
you got to blow up a chronograph. That's where you want to do it.
Oh, my goodness. Well, back in the old days, I worked at the NRA when they were at 1600 Rhode Island Avenue. We were 6 blocks from the White House.
Yeah,
this was in the heart of D.C., and they had a shooting range in the basement that the tech staff could use. And because you're in a basement, you can't use regular sky screens because there's no sky. But you did have a photoelectric display screen that you'd shoot through or over. But we had fluorescent bulbs up at the top. They're about, 2 feet above the screen. So you basically shoot into this triangle between the sensor at the bottom and the fluorescent light at the top. All's well, works great. And we get a readout. So I'm going to do this experiment, and we took a 36-inch barrel shotgun. And we're going to do the old deal of take a hacksaw and start cutting it off 2 inches at a time and measure the velocity drop as the barrel gets shorter and shorter and shorter and see how much difference does it make. Okay, here's the deal. If you take a pencil or even your finger, you point it out there and you're aiming at something, okay, but as it gets shorter and shorter to have the same look, you put that muzzle up there, you realize it's actually pointing further and further up. When you put the end of the barrel on the target down there, because the barrel is now shorter.
Closer to you. Yeah.
Eventually, you blow out the fluorescent tube with the shotgun and blow glass all down the tunnel and the range. And now you got to come up and tell the big boss that you have blown up the chronograph. Then he says, "Oh yeah, somebody does that about every 4 months around here. Don't worry about it."
Makes you feel better.
I said, okay, I don't feel like such adult. I am adult, but I don't feel like such adult here. God. Oh, that was fun stuff, though. That was when, I can't even believe I used to do this. I lived out in Virginia, and I would come into D.C. on the train and the subway with a long rifle case, a hard rifle case, absolutely illegal in Washington, D.C., with rifles in them. But I had stickers all over the case that said ABC TV and different kind of production companies.
Brilliant.
So I'm sitting there riding the subway with rifles in D.C. Oh, Lord, I am so glad I didn't get caught doing that.
Haven't done that lately, have you?
No. It's amazing the things you could learn, and you kind of say, don't want to do that. And risk-reward ratio is not paying off on this one. Yeah. So you guys been shooting?
No.
You don't have time to shoot. You're working.
I've been in mud for 2 days.
Oh, gosh. Okay, you got to tell the story.
I got to make this great. Nothing to do with guns. It's great. Well, it kind of does, because we were trying to make some more room for the range. Anyway, this winter cleared a path through the woods, and the ground's kind of moist. So I didn't think much of it because I can four-wheel drive through anything, right? I'm bad to the bone.
Besides, you're a man and you have four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Nothing can stop you.
Right, except mud. So I got my truck stuck in the mud. So my buddy said, I got a big Ford F-350 diesel with dualies. I'll come get you out. 3 hours later, we had him unstuck. So his buddy has a backhoe. So we're gonna get a backhoe in there.
This gets better and better.
That took 12 hours.
Oh yeah, okay.
Unstuck.
All right, wait. First we stuck your truck, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's still there. By the way.
Which is still there. Yeah. Then we stick the F-350 dually, and it takes you 3.5 hours to get it out.
Correct.
All right, so now we're up to bringing in the backhoe.
That only took 12 and a half hours to get out, but it did get out.
Wait, to get out? What do you mean? You got it stuck?
He sunk in the mud, yeah.
You sunk a backhoe?
Well, I didn't. I was just observing and having the mosquito repellent, keeping the operator alive. It was terrible.
Oh, my heavens. So the truck's still there?
Truck's in a swamp. Yeah, it's in about 30 inches of mud, we estimate, and it's about 150 feet of mud to get to it now because we destroyed the ground with the F-350 and the backhoe.
I'm thinking this is the Craigslist for sale as is, here is. If you could get it, you could have it.
I liked your helicopter idea. Just hoist it out.
Yeah, we're going to get a Sikorsky SkyCrane in there.
Yep.
I mean, it's only like $25,000 to come bring that thing in, and the truck's got to be worth what?
$3,000.
$3,000. Okay, it's the kind of thing we would do, Jim.
Well, $3,000, but I can grow grass on it now. The rich topsoil that's up in there.
That's true. You can seed your truck. Oh my God. Oh my heavenly days!
That's why I haven't been shooting.
How long has the truck been in its? How long have you had a planted truck? Yes,
It took root Thursday night.
Yes,
and we worked all day Friday on the other two, and then Saturday.
Just been there for 3 days now.
Yeah, and then Saturday I said, my body hurts too much from doing that much physical labor the day before. It's sitting until Monday.
Is it on your land?
Yeah, it's on my property. It's not bugging anybody.
Okay. All right, so that's okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
You know, have you considered making it part of the shooting range?
I am now. It's crossed my mind now. Absolutely.
Didn't start out that way.
No, but it's we'll get it out, and it's just what are you going to do? Are you going to let it get to you and ruin your day, or are you just going to? Such is life, So,
well, I stuck the Suburban a few months ago when we were doing a GUNTALK TV shoot, and one of the things that I have come to understand the hard way is that when you stick a big four-wheel drive vehicle, you are some kind of seriously stuck. You got a lot of weight sitting there.
Yeah. The problem is when the frame hits the bottom, there's nothing you can do. You're going to best four-wheel drive in the world.
So I'm thinking the thing to do is to use two-wheel drive until the wheels start spinning a little bit, then put it in four-wheel drive and get the heck out of Dodge.
Good advice for the next time around.
There is a next time.
Where were you Thursday when I needed you?
Yeah, I'll be there when you need me, except for this.
Yeah, I've been through it 100 times. I've never got stuck, so I had it coming.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. Oh, well.
Well, all righty. Okay, another truck story. We seem to have those around here.
Yeah.
Michelle, you don't get your cars and trucks stuck, do you?
No, I tend to stay on
roads.
Stay on items that have gravel and blacktop or concrete even.
We call that the testosterone poisoning.
Yes.
It kind of goes to the brain and makes us abjectly stupid.
Yeah, I thought about calling my insurance company and said, my car's stuck, I need a tow.
You got AAA, will they come out?
I was going to say, right now it's when you join AAA.
Can they hook a winch up to it from the driveway? That's the real question.
They're going to need a 250-foot cable.
We're back to the SkyCrane, baby. I'm telling you, that's the way to go.
I like the visual, if nothing else. Plus, the neighbors would go, what the hell's going on?
What is that?
I knew Kinseys were growing something out there.
You know what? If you could just start the rumor that you got like some illicit plant material inside that truck, the feds will come get it out for you.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I know for a fact I saw something in there.
That's right. My dog went by there and went crazy. So what can I tell you?
Yeah.
Now can I have my truck? No, sir. You cannot have your truck back.
Ever.
Oh my. Well, that's good because I'm glad you did it only in the heat of the summer where you guys are out there beating on this thing.
Well, see, when I was clearing the
sense.
land in the winter and the ground was soft, I should have realized that basically it's compost. It's leaves for hundreds of years and it's always been back there. And it's all those leaves and stuff and it decomposes and it gets soft. And it's, it's 2 degrees outside and I'm four-wheeling there and I'm hitting soft spots going, Now I'm thinking it's because that stuff stays warm underneath. It keeps itself insulated.
Okay. You do understand the positive to this, though, don't you?
I'm waiting.
This means that you can now buy a great big side-by-side seating ATV with the big old soft wheels, perfect, that won't get stuck out there.
You mean the money I spent on the winch that I'm going to be using tomorrow morning I could have put towards an ATV with big spongy mud tires? Is that what you're trying to say?
Can I help you out with the whole winch thing? It's not going to work.
Oh, boy, that's what I needed to hear.
Yeah, anything I can do to help, I mean, I have been stuck in various states with winches, with come-alongs, with we hooked 3 four-wheel drive SUVs up to a Blazer of mine that was stuck in the Alabama swamp one time. Couldn't get it out. Ended up having to get the tractor. Now, a tractor is going to be your best bet.
Yeah, well, that's what the backhoe was. It was a tractor with a backhoe on it. It had the outriggers and everything. It's still sunk. It's wet.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
So, when's your dry season?
Yeah. I was thinking about wait till winter and throw it out. But we'll get it
when
out.
it freezes up, then get it out.
I'm too stubborn.
Okay, well, take pictures, okay? We want pictures of this thing.
You'll get a kick
That's right.
out of it.
We'll throw them up on the Gun Talk Facebook page, okay?
Here's what not to do.
Well, there you go. And you can't even say, hold my beer and do this because you don't drink beer.
That's true.
So, what year model is this truck?
In 1996, four-wheel drive.
So just...
it's a Toyota, and I love it. It's a great truck.
Think about it this way. You're not adding any mileage to it right now.
Well, I did when I got stuck. The speedometer kept going. I probably put 25 miles on the thing. And I overheated the motor, so I'm hoping when I get it out, the motor's still intact. But I got a good attitude about it.
I think we're back to the as is, where is.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Truck wars right here.
Yep.
Oh, man. All righty. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to be shooting first-person offender this week. Got a lot of fun stuff going on. We're going to be... Let's see, we're going to have a gun store robbery. You'll like that one, Michelle.
Oh.
In a scenario, yeah. And we're going to have a restaurant robbery. Then we're going to recreate the CNN anchor, the push-in at the motel.
Oh,
excellent.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep, we're going to do that one. And just got a whole lot of cool ideas of throwing people into these weird, interesting self-defense situations. And I mean, some of them are just real simple. It's the kind of stuff that happens. We're going to have somebody to park. Just, a lot of people walking around, and then there's an active shooter in the park. We're going to have a guy who's a hunter. He's got his hunting gun with him, but is he carrying a self-defense gun? Can you get to or use your hunting gun when you're out there? Because there are bad people out in the woods, too.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing an episode where this guy's got his truck stuck in the mud and he's digging it out, and it's late at night?
It's just, that's so outlandish. It's not even impossible. No one would ever do such a thing.
Because I've got the perfect set for you.
We've got the set, right. And we can use it. All we have to do is return the truck to you when we're done, right?
Yes. Yeah, helicopter fees optional, but
helicopter
that's all part of the budget.
That's production. That's right. Don't worry about it. That's right. Okay, well, I want to see pictures, okay?
Okay, you got it.
All right. You guys have a great week.
Be good.
Bye.
Well, there you go. Another Gun Talk After Show is in the can. We sure do appreciate you sticking around. And remember, everything Gun Talk is available 24/7 at guntalk.com. See you next week for the Gun Talk After Show.